indulge me for a minute, if I can do this, if I can hold myself together. First of all, I'm wondering tonight, where's Gary Lopez? Why isn't he here? He's been running a recall and actually running a lot of things from behind the scenes, and we never see him here anymore. So my first question is, Gary, where are you? I know you're home watching, but I think we need to see you here. Personally, this has been probably one of the hardest weeks of my life. I haven't lost a parent yet, so that probably would top it. And my children are both healthy and fine, but this has probably been the hardest week of my life. And and my husband, though, that's one of the reasons it's been he's made me cry, okay? In the past few days, a group of college kids have been exploring that blog, which I find really amusing because I've been getting some emails and phone calls from these kids. And they've been looking at this COG blog, and they've been trying to post things, and their posts are getting removed. And some of them are math students, and they're questioning the figures on this blog and questioning how they're getting to these, these equations that make us all look so awful. And every time they ask questions, they're removed from the blog. And I actually had one kid contact me and say, I just want to be sure, he's in a college someplace, I just want to be sure these guys are for real, because to me this has got to be some kind of a joke. Are you setting us all up? No. So if anybody's visited that blog, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I'm actually going to share a little bit of that with you in a minute. Last night I went to the blog and I visited it, and this morning I was back there again today. And as I read, I never really read. I read the posts. People forward me the posts, which is the way a blog works, for those of you who don't know it, is the person who runs the blog posts on a web page. It's almost like writing articles. And then depending on how the blog is set up, this one allows people to post anonymously, so there's a lot of people saying a lot of things that they wouldn't say if they had to identify themselves. So I looked today at the post, and over the past few posts I've been wondering how somebody can do this and get away with it, and obviously myself personally and many of us are being libeled. A quote from today's blog: Businesses pay off counselors to retain the factor of one. Make no mistake. The only way the council will change this policy is either through a swift kick in the bleep or someone paying them more money. So we're all being accused of taking bribes. Actually, today he actually defined the word bribe. Our friend Mr. Julius, who's not here, and again, forgive me because I don't usually do this kind of thing. I think we all need to consider the fact that he's a residential real estate person, and it would benefit him greatly if we were to have a split tax. That's never been said, and I've wanted to say that, and I just had to say that. I also want to share with you some of the posts that have come from Mr. Julius, and as I was standing here watching him, I worry about that man. I worry about his sanity almost because of the way he talks. As a matter of fact, the Cape Cod Times today in their editorial used a piece of one of his comments, and that was what I had planned to do. I was going to do that as of last night. Janet, trust me on this. I've personally been out collecting signatures and have you recalled. Now this is posted by and signed by John Julius. Not only in support of Jim Walsh, but every voter and taxpayer, lots of capitals, in this town that you lied to. And believe me, Janet, many are not happy that you lied. You see, Janet, you're trying to put a nice spin on all this. However, it's very simple. The business owners in our town have seen their taxes paid, paltry 231, another one of Gary's numbers, while the residential homeowners have seen our taxes raised by the millions of dollars. Janet, I have some good advice for you. It's obvious that you do not care about fairness when it comes to taxes. Therefore, do us all a favor and resign. It's okay that you won't. I said it's only about two things: fairness, which you do not believe in, and democracy. And the people in Precinct 6 who you lied to will take care of the democracy part. And it goes on like that. I've been thrown around here and that are thrown around on the blog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All chairpersons here, Mr. Town Manager, Mr. Assistant Town Manager. There's been a great deal of confusion and a lot of misinformation. Now, normally I would have these numbers for you before you would consider your split tax rate, but with the tardiness of doing all the business of getting by the Department of Revenue and now working with the recaps and trying to get the fire districts done, I just now had time to run this analysis. Nobody asked me to do it. I would do it anyway to see where we sat within the town relative to what has been written and discussed about the split tax influence. Let's set something straight here. The residential people keep talking about the businesses are causing the problem. They're getting breaks. Businesses don't even get taxed. It's property owners. So it's whoever's owned the building and who owns the land is the one paying the tax. Not the business person, unless there's a pass-through that says you pay the tax if it goes up. So let's make that very clear. These aren't businesses. These are property owners. Even still, what I came to compare was fiscal year 2004, 4 years ago, against the tax bill this year, 2007, 4 years. 4 hot years, I'll remind you, in the market, okay? The average residential value in 04 was $345,718. In 07, it's $464,000, $444,000. That's a big jump, isn't it? But interestingly, it's about 34.3% jump in value. Interestingly enough, though, the actual tax bill, thanks to your residential exemption, for the people who were qualified, and this is about 15,177 of them, the 07 bill is $2,268.98. The FY04 bill was $2,285.02, 3.9% below the 04 tax. Now, somebody can't tell me these people are paying more tax in 07 than they were this year, or even than they were in 04. At the same time, of the 1,645 commercial industrial properties paying tax in this town, their 04 values were 529 and some change. Their 07 values are 717 and some change, an increase of 35.45%. Residential was 34.3, commercial industrial was 35.45. They went up just along with the residential people. Interesting point though, no split tax rate in these figures and no exemption for the businesses. They're just being taxed, and they're being taxed at the 557 rate, not the 632, because that's only shared among the residential properties. Guess what happens in their tax payments? FY04, they were paying $3,501 this year on average. This year on average, they're paying $3,994, a 25.68 increase. So Mr. Lopez and all the other people who are throwing these numbers out, I personally don't know where you're getting these from. I work with this every day. I did a deep statistical analysis on this. And I'm just astounded that you can run around and talk about figures like this without knowing where they're coming from. So my point is this. The residential people are not bearing a larger burden of the tax load.